It's the George Plaster Show. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown. And it's a shame it's taken this long to get an introduction for this Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer, Kelly Holcomb, along with young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome in on what has turned out to be a really nice Thursday in Nashville, Tennessee. Bright sunshine from time to time. No rain in the forecast for the next few days, and we got a good show for you. Let's get right to it and say hello to Kelly Holcomb, who joins us from Murfreesboro. Kelly, what's going on?
Not much, George. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking.
You look spry. You look spry.
Yeah, your concern is really touching. And
meanwhile, it's facetious, that's for sure.
Yes. Meanwhile, we have Billy on his tour of Pennsylvania. Billy, when the hell are you coming home?
I'm flying back today. So
nice picture of you, by the way.
I mean, you're obviously still on the run. I mean, what are we doing?
Kelly, just relax, man.
Why is for podcast purposes, why is your picture not up?
Oh, is my picture not up?
No.
It's up for me. I see it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
unfortunately,
okay, well,
unfortunately, I get his mug right on my screen there, George.
Yeah. Well, to heck with it. Let's get to what we do every day during football season, and that is our daily Titans update with Terry McCormick, Main Street Media and Titan Insider. Terry, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Terry on today by telephonic instrument. So what is what's the news of the day from the Titans?
Well, just another day of getting ready to face the Minnesota Vikings. I think that one of the big concerns for this Titans team is the Vikings defense and their ability to turn the football over and to blitz and make plays with the defense. They had 2 interceptions and a forced fumble against Jacksonville last week, and as you know, the Titans have had a propensity of turning the football over, so that is a very significant point of emphasis for this Titans team this week, is to protect the football, to be able to recognize those disguises and things that Brian Flores does with that Minnesota defense, and try to avoid as many traps as they can. And, that's not always been easy for the Titans this year. Last week was the first week all season that they hadn't had a turnover. And so they'll try to build on that and see what kind of plans they can implement for Sunday to try and prevent that.
Terry, anybody that you can compare what the Vikings do with anybody the Titans have played?
Probably not. One of the teams that I would say that they're similar is the way Todd Bowles does it with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where they just bring pressure from all sides, and then they'll give you disguises. They'll show cover zero, which is a full-out blitz with no deep safeties to guard against the long ball, hoping that you'll be able to get the pass off in time to burn them. And then other times when they'll show that same front and drop guys back into coverage to try and confuse you and maybe get an easy interception, when the quarterback thinks that it was cover zero and he throws it to the hot spot, but there's coverage there.
Terry, it sounds like L'Jarius Sneed might be back. What are you hearing?
Well, it's possible. He said that, he was going to try to give it a go, or, as soon as he's able to. He was not out there yesterday. We'll see if he's out there today or Friday. I would think that he has to practice at least one day, this week in order to be back. He's missed 4 weeks in a row with a quad contusion that turned into a quad strain once they did an MRI. And, if they could get him back and he could be, some semblance of what he was in Kansas City, which is what they signed up for when they traded for him, then that would really help the defense because they could send him to travel with Justin Jefferson and be able to, help slow down what many feel like is the best wide receiver in the NFL. The thought of Darrell Baker and Jarvis Brownlee out there again trying to cover these Vikings receivers has got to be a scary thought for Denard Wilson as he tries to get this defense ready to stop Minnesota's offense.
Yeah, it's a recipe that really doesn't work. And the problem with the Vikings is that not only do you have Jefferson, but you've got other weapons and a really good tight end.
Yeah, Hawkinson is a nice tight end. Jordan Addison is a good receiver. They've added Aaron Jones to the backfield, former Green Bay Packer, who gives them, a nice dimension there in the run game. So this Minnesota team is loaded with weapons. A lot of people have been talking about how well, the resurgence of Sam Darnold has gone this year. I think a lot of it is just simply a product of he's on a good team with a lot of good weapons rather than being on bad teams like he was with the Jets and Carolina that didn't really have a lot to offer.
Terry, we'll leave it there. Thank you for the report. We'll check back in with you tomorrow.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, that's Terry McCormick getting us started with his daily Titans update. Billy, I trust you have an update with some legitimate meat on the bone.
Oh, I do. I mean, I've been pretty consistent this week with loaded updates. So I don't know. I don't see why that would change.
It's just what you do, isn't it, Billy? It's just what you do.
That's just what I do every day. I show up every day in work.
So why is the Pennsylvania model better than the Tennessee model?
No reason.
He's getting help, George.
Let's get to the update.
I don't doubt that.
Without further ado,
Uh-huh.
It's brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. You can find her online at mortgageladieusa.com or give her a call, 615-969-4350. All right, last night, big win, good win for Vanderbilt over Cal, 85-69. That was their first Power 5 win for Coach Mark Byington. I guess it's Power 4 now. Vandy had 18 steals, most since 1998. So they're breaking records seemingly every game here, George, to begin the Byington era. Third straight home win to start the season. They'll be back in action Saturday at Memorial Gym against Jackson State.
Hey, George, are y'all seeing a considerable change with Coach Byington? I mean, is it different? Can you just feel it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, first of all, and I'm going to be very sarcastic about this, it's nice to see assistant coaches and the head coach dealing with each other.
Right.
I always thought there was one of these invisible fences around Stackhouse where the assistant coaches look scared to death to talk to him. They're back to operating the way most college basketball teams operate. You have a head coach, you have assistant coaches, they deal with each other. The experiment, whatever in the hell it was, bombed.
Yeah, and Kelly, that Vandy fans weren't asking for much more. They were, like George said, they were asking for just a solid basketball product. Not even the tournament. Let's get back to being a fun product and making shots, flying up and down the court. Stackhouse just never you never saw it, like George said.
I've always felt like when a coach does that, he's kind of insecure in what he does. So he goes into a box and he stays there and he's scared of what maybe people are going to say, but he doesn't let his assistant coach. I've always felt if a coach does that, he's kind of insecure because I've seen that. I've seen that all over. And when you have a situation where a guy's got a big ego and they want to control everything, then there's some insecurities coming out. And I just love, like the other night with Lenny Acuff, and the Belmont situation too, both staffs, like George is talking about, Lenny he talks with his coaches, and then they go over and they'll make adjustments, and then he says something, or he'll say something. But he's securing his abilities as a coach to allow other people to not micromanage them, but to allow them to coach, and that's what he hired them for. And that's just kind of what I've seen over my lifetime in sports.
Well, it's a welcome change. Look, their biggest weakness right now, they don't shoot the ball particularly well from three. That's an unusual Vandy trait because over the years they've been really good at that. It'll be interesting to see if that part gets better because it's going to need to. But so far, so good.
Yeah, first 3-0 start since Darius Garland was wearing the black and gold. So it's been a while since this good of a start for Vanderbilt on the hardwood. Over in Knoxville, Tennessee, rolls over Montana 92-57. They had 5 players in double figures. They will host Austin Peay on Sunday, a good Austin Peay team. I'm forgetting the name of their coach right now, George, but they do have a player, Hansel Emmanuel, who has he's got one arm, and he's I don't know if it's his left or his right that he predominantly uses, of course, but that's a good Austin Peay team. Tennessee, they beat Butler, like you mentioned, I think, earlier in the week. That's not going to be easy for Tennessee.
Yeah, Gibson played for Dave Luce at Austin Peay.
Corey Gibson.
And has done a terrific job in the short time he's been there. So good for him.
Maction last night, Miami of Ohio dominates Kent State 34-7. Kent State now 0-10.
They need to call off the season.
Due to lack of interest.
Due to lack of interest. NIU beats Akron 29-16. Ohio beats Eastern Michigan 35-10. No more Maction tonight. We've got East Carolina, big favorite at Tulsa, 6:30 on ESPN. Also, Thursday night football, really good matchup. Eagles, 4-point favorite against the Commanders, 7:15 kickoff on Prime Video. Big divisional showdown. This is the first Commanders-Eagles game in which both teams enter 4+ games above 500 since 1996.
This is a really good test on Jaden Daniels because crowd noise is going to be huge. The Eagles are playing really well right now.
EAG.
EAGLES. If
Eagles.
Yes. Fly, Eagles, fly. If the Commanders go in there and win, it's another, step of saying, look, the Daniel Snyder era is over. Little small stuff is gone.
Why you got such a problem with him, George? Good gracious.
He took a franchise that was a terrific franchise and put it in the gutter. That's what I have a problem with.
I can't disagree.
Yeah. Why'd you ask it?
Well, Kelly, a town you're pretty familiar with, Indianapolis, not just a town, city, the NFL Combine will stay there for at least 2 more years. I think they had originally agreed for 2025 to be the last year of the Combine in Indianapolis. They're extending that 1 more year. I don't know why they would ever plan to leave, but it's been held there since 1987, and it's evolved into a huge event. More than 27,000 fans were at the Combine last year, so it'll be at least through 2026. Again, I don't know why they would ever move it from there, though.
So are they letting people into the stadium to watch the Combine? Is that what they're doing?
Yep.
Oh, wow. I just think that the Combine, I've told you all this before, nowadays everybody has these individual workouts at the college. What do we need it for? I tell you what it's for. It's for drinking for all the coaches and the staff. That's what it's for. So they can just meet up and go to St. Elmo's Steakhouse and have a good steak and then go drinking. That's it.
I knew that was coming. Most importantly, they're able to expense it on their expense accounts.
Oh, absolutely. Teams pay for it. Wow.
Just like me whenever I travel, courtesy of the Plaster Show.
Oh, wow. Are you getting an entourage too there, Billy?
No St. Elmo's though.
You will not get a penny.
Well, Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter are going to be getting more than just a penny when they get drafted in the first round this year. But Deion Sanders says he will privately intervene if the wrong NFL team drafts either Shadur Sanders or Travis Hunter. So he's not publicly. He will privately intervene if he thinks the wrong team drafted either one of those guys.
Well, it has happened before. There are two really obvious situations.
Manning.
John Elway, the Baltimore Colts wanted him. He used the threat of playing in the Yankees minor league system to get around that. And then the other one was not Peyton,
Eli. It was Eli.
The San Diego Chargers, if I remember correctly, drafted Eli, and Archie sort of arranged, I guess it was Phillip Rivers for Eli, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And I forget that it was the last guy's, his last name was a GM. It was Smith. I forget the guy's name, but they did not want to. They had a problem with him, so did not want to deal with him. So, yeah, they made that trade where he could go to New York and Phillip would go to San Diego.
Worked out okay for both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
We got some college notes. Nico Iamaleava officially questionable for the game against Georgia last night on the availability report. Also, DJ Lagway is questionable for the LSU game. They've technically been practicing this week, but what does that mean? I don't know.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Okay, so let's go to Nico for a minute, because I know that, immediately all the bells went off in my head when I heard he'd had a concussion, but Monday he was doing fine. I wonder, and look, we'll never know until the game happens, but I wonder if this whole thing is a smokescreen and they know he's not going to play.
No question. I think there's no question. Now, I don't know if he's not going to play, but I just don't see if he had a concussion, even if he had a minor concussion, how they're going to let him come back in a week. I do not see that. It's not like the other day when I told my story when I had my first concussion in college and I came back to practice the next day. Nobody even thought about that back then. But nowadays there's such a huge, big scope on that I just don't think that I don't think he's going to play Saturday. I really don't.
And so the assumption is that if he doesn't play, they have no chance of winning. I don't know if that's true or not, but let's be honest, that's what everybody thinks.
We'll see. Also, in the college ranks, Michigan is apparently prepared to offer five-star quarterback commit Bryce Underwood $10.5 million.
So they've upped it because it was 5.
Yeah, over 4 years, and he's committed to LSU right now. So that kid's got an apparent decision to make.
That's what I talked about yesterday with Mike, man. That's going to start happening. You're going to start going after the recruits. You're going to start going after the James Pierces and the Jalen Milrows and the guys like that to say, hey, if they're paying you this, we can pay you this to pluck you away from the other team. It's still the Wild Wild West, guys.
But here's the thing. If there's a salary cap, essentially, at some point, that cap should force some level of sanity.
I think so too, and you're going to get into tampering issues. Like, when are they going to have some laws where you can't tamper with a kid once he's signed a contract to play with the school and the scholarship is the contract? Like, there's going to have to be some tampering issues as well.
Kelly, the horse has gotten out of the barn. The train has left the station. The tampering is a joke. There is more of that going on right now than you can shake a stick at.
Agree.
Yeah.
Toothpaste is out of the tube.
Well, thank you, Billy.
Yes. Preds and Oilers tonight in Edmonton.
They could use a win. I didn't think they played badly at Colorado. They lost in overtime, got a point. Look, as crazy as it sounds, a couple of days ago I checked it. as bad as it's been, they're only 4 points out of the 8th and final playoff spot. I probably need to check that again to see what the number is now. But, a 2 or 3 game good streak could make it a lot more interesting. I'll leave it at that.
Let's go Preds.
Let's do.
That's what I got.
I would say, Kelly, it lacked meat on the bone.
Well, I think Billy knows it like meat on the bone because of his enthusiasm. There was none when he just said, "That's all I got."
Wow.
I mean, have
Okay.
a little energy about you, Billy.
Thanks, Boots.
After the break, we're going to head down to Florida. Nick De La Torre. Am I saying that right,
Yes,
Billy?
Congratulations.
Okay. Thank you. He will join us to talk about the Florida situation, which has gotten really murky. Stick around. This is 94.9 The Fan.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
Are you concerned about the Medicare Part D changes for 2025? Believe me, you're not alone. You need to contact Pancos Benefits. They'll make the changes clear and easy to understand. Trust Pancos to guide you through it all. Their knowledgeable team is here to help you understand the updates and make informed decisions about your Medicare coverage. Don't navigate these changes alone. Call Pancos Benefits today at 615-292-3400 and choose option 3, or visit pancosbenefits.com. That's 615-292-3400 and choose option 3.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. Okay, we are back. I'm told that we're having trouble hooking up with Nick De La Torre from down in Florida. So we're just going to talk through this a little bit. It was a week ago, right about now, that the announcement came out from Florida's athletic director, Scott Strickland, that Billy Napier would be retained. And my guess is that the reaction to that, it's not 50-50 of Florida fans. I would assume that the Florida base is not very happy with that. And Kelly, let's just talk through that situation for a second. It's complicated because, like a lot of these coaches, they've got money on their side because they're owed so much if you buy them out. And the other thing is, Florida started out absolutely miserable. And at the beginning of September, Sunbelt Billy was dead man walking. But they have gotten considerably better, even with having to shuffle quarterbacks. I would claim that even though the Florida fans are pissed off, he's done about as good with this as he could.
George, that's a tough situation to be in too. If you're a coach, just think he's a human being and he got paid a lot of money, but like, you know that people are after you, and they've got a lot of money obviously tied up in him. But I just don't know how you get through that, man. That is tough going home every day. And he just said, I read an article today about, he was talking about it's a 1-day contract for each team. But last week, like he even said, I think in his press conference, he said he felt like that they gave up the white flag early. And like, if you're starting to do that and you're saying that as a coach, have you lost your team? That's kind of what it felt like to me. Have you lost your team when you say, I felt like we threw up the white flag early? I don't know. I've never been involved in anything like that, George. And like, that's why we need to ask Nick about this. Like, has he lost the locker room? And we talk about that constantly. We talked about that with Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M. But nowadays, in this climate of college football and college sports, Florida has nothing to play for anymore. It's just kind of rights that they just have nothing to play for anymore, and they're not. I don't know. I don't know what their record is. What is their record, Billy? Is it have they got 6 wins yet or no?
No, it's like 4-5.
4-5. So they can still maybe possibly go to a bowl game, but like, you're out of the top 12. So now in this hypersensitive deal about everybody's trying to get in the top 12, they're out of the top 12. They know they're not going anywhere, and then you're probably going to get a lot of kids that get in the transfer portal. I just don't know how you keep this train on the track, George. It's I know it's frustrating for fans, but I was looking at the guys that they got. Dan Mullen had a little bit of success there, and he won a lot of games. But like, since Urban Meyer, you look at who they've had. They've had Will Muschamp, DJ Durkin, Jim McElwain, Randy Shannon, and now they got Billy Napier. Like, they like, since Urban Meyer, like I said, Dan Mullen had a little success, but since then, like, why can't they find the guy for them? Because that is a well-known brand. They've won national championships, but it just seems like they just can't get right now.
Well, I think they need, personally, high octane. When Spurrier was there, he absolutely dominated the Florida recruiting market and had wide receivers coming out the yazoo, and they were throwing the ball and they were getting big chunks. And I look at them now and I don't see any of the Spurrier type of mentality that used to just scare defensive coordinators in this league. Now, what we didn't know at the time that announcement came out on Thursday was that a bomb was going to go off 24 hours later involving Todd Golden, the basketball coach, and it involves things like Billy. I'm trying to think of the exact words that were used in it. Stalking and sexual kind of stuff involving students, and there was supposedly, according to the student newspaper, The Alligator, him sending lewd photos to students. So Strickland, we now know, knew all of this and has known it for several weeks because Todd Golden admitted that, he has fully cooperated with the investigation, the Title IX kind of stuff. So here's Strickland saying, okay, I may have to make some really tough basketball decisions. Can I honestly do a legitimate football search and a basketball search within 2 months of each other? And I think basically Billy Napier got a 1-year freebie because of what's going on in the basketball. How do you all feel?
I agree with that. I mean, that's exactly what it feels like. But it's also eventually you got to make a move on these situations. Like what are they going to do with Todd Golden? Where's the direction with both of these programs? Obviously, the basketball program's in better shape, win-loss column wise than the football program. But looking at this now, I mean, Todd Golden, we don't know what's going to happen, but he may not have a job. So,
well, Billy, first of all, here's some things that we need to think about as we discuss this issue. In American society, you are innocent until proven guilty. Now,
right.
Kelly, I will contend that in the sports world, a lot of times it feels like you're guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah, that's right. That's kind of what I feel too.
Without nearly the knowledge that Scott Strickland has about this case, I'm absolutely shocked that they have not placed Todd Golden on administrative leave, leave with pay while this is going on. And so he has coached games since this got out. I'm trying to think who it was they had Monday night, but apparently he got a really nice ovation from the crowd at the O'Connell Center. And again, I don't have the information that Scott Strickland does, but I will admit that I'm surprised that he wasn't placed on administrative leave.
I am. I was thinking about this morning, George, because I knew we had Nick on, hopefully. But when you're talking about the basketball deal, how does just like Billy said, their basketball team has been pretty good the last couple of years. They've been kind of relevant. So how do they get through that? Like, that the accusations, whether they're true or not, they're accusations. And nowadays people just put things out there, whether it's true or false. They just put it out there to get it sensationalized in the media. And what does that do to your basketball team? Does your basketball team still believe in their coach, even though, all this stuff is happening and you're not sure and it hasn't been proven yet? But like, what do you do as a like if you're the guard or you're the center on the team, like how do you feel about your coach right now? Can you keep going? Or what do you feel about him and what he's done? And are you not worried about that? You just wanting to play ball, or do you care to play anymore? Like, that's a tough deal in the locker room that you have to talk about. I remember there was a coach when things, he did a really good job when things were bad or when people were talking or when you heard rumors. He would come in and he would openly discuss it. But like, that's a hard situation to get through if what you're talking about is true.
Well, Billy, you can take to the bank that they've all gotten together in a dorm room and they have had some conversations that, thank goodness, aren't being taped.
Right.
I have no idea whether Todd Golden has addressed his team about the issues, but help me with this. Didn't the student newspaper basically report that one of the students who had received the photos had sort of said, here they are?
Yes. I mean, it was a great job of the student newspaper of reporting it, but I mean, I don't get how he doesn't get put on anything, like you said, George. How is he still coaching?
Well, that part really surprises me, but I'm going to give everybody in this the benefit of the doubt because, again, they've got more info than I do. It would appear on the surface, if you don't place him on administrative leave, that tells me that Strickland and or the Florida higher-ups don't believe the story.
Yeah, the students came out here. That's not a good look. That doesn't seem like a good look at all for Florida. And Scott Strickland, is there a worse athletic department right now than Florida?
Wow.
Well, there's probably not one under more turmoil if you think about it. You've retained a football coach that you know your fan base is pissed off about because they're sitting there going, we know what Florida can be, and we're not anywhere near that. Kelly, in all fairness to them on the football side, they had to go with the third quarterback Saturday at Texas. You guys help me. Is he not a transfer from Yale?
Yes, he is.
That's kind of amazing. Like we talked about Graham Mertz too to begin the year because I wasn't sold on him. Chris Doring back in the SEC media days when we interviewed him, he was a big fan of Graham Mertz, and I've just never felt good about him. I didn't think he was the guy. And then DJ Legway, you can tell that he is he's going to be a pretty good player. He's a freshman.
Yeah, there's something there.
Yeah, there is something there, but when you're down to your third quarterback and you're still making changes. Now, the other day, I looked at it. The other day when they played Texas, they gave up 292 yards of passing to Quinn Ewers in the first half. So I can understand what Billy Napier is saying, but going back to what we're talking about with these two coaches, I think y'all are right, man. I think, has there ever been an AD that's had to fire two of your top programs, their coaches in the same year? I'm sure it's happened, but you don't really ever see that. So with the golden guy kind of pressing the buttons and making you think hey, we may have to get rid of him, I think you're absolutely right, George. I don't think the Strickland guy has an opportunity to get rid of two of your big main sports, their head coaches in 1 year. That's pretty tough, and that's a lot of turmoil.
Yeah,
it's almost like, what do you think of this, guys? It's almost like if you're Strickland right now, do you have to sacrifice your basketball program to make sure you make the, because I don't know that the verdict's out on Billy Napier yet. They kind of put out a vague, it wasn't a, he's officially back or anything like that. If you look back at their statement, so I wonder if they almost try to look at this and go, we'll sacrifice our basketball program to try to get football back. Because I'm sure there's some departments that at times maybe have to think like that.
This is a deal where, and I don't know how Florida handles coaching searches. I don't know if they use these search firms to help them. But on the surface, I'm guessing that Strickland said, there is no way I can handle two of these in about a 3 to 4 month period. Now, there are others who might go the other way and say, bring it on. I can handle it. Because here's the thing. If the Florida football job had come open, what we don't know is who pays the buyout. Is that a deal where he's having to go to boosters for a buyout? Because it would appear if they get rid of Todd Golden, that one would be for cause.
Right.
And so there would be, he's probably had to get one of these legal pads and start, putting down numbers. That's a nice legal pad. Good picture. If we block me out, it'd be a better show. So he's probably had his hands full over the last few weeks going, what the hell do I do? And, then you've got NIL, you're trying to raise money. And I would think that both of these stories have probably stopped their ability to raise NIL money, it has probably come to a screeching halt.
That's just what I was about to ask you. Like, is that one of the problems that you're going to see with this NIL stuff when you've got a coach that is kind of a lame duck situation, and now you're telling the fans of Florida that we're bringing Billy Napier back, and he hasn't really moved the needle any. So how are you able to raise that collective, George? Because if I'm a fan and I'm one of those J.R. Ewings that you talk about, and I've got all this money, but this guy hasn't shown me anything up until this point after 3 years. Am I going to keep giving money to that program?
It's an absolute mess. And
Yeah.
this is one of the byproducts of the new world order in sports that we're dealing with is, boy, it's probably easy to raise the money when you're 10-1 and it sure looks like you're going to the playoff. But man, if you're sitting there in Florida's shoes right now, you've got a coach that the fan base doesn't particularly want. They know full well that there are some great names that would hop on the Florida job if it were open. Then you got a basketball deal that's unbelievably murky. It's the absolute worst nightmare of accusations aimed at a coach. And by the way, let me also say this. I wonder how the Gainesville Sun felt Friday when they saw the student newspaper, the Alligator, shove a huge story up their butt.
Yeah, that's probably not a good feeling for those editors.
Probably isn't. Okay, let's go to the break, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on around the Southeastern Conference. A big weekend. Stick around. This is 94.9 The Fan. Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com. This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night is set for Monday, December the 2nd, here at the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center at 3436 Lebanon Pike. The proceeds go to 2 really worthy causes, Last Minute Toy Store and the Martha O'Brien Center. It costs $200, and it's a night of fun you'll never forget. If you'd like to be a part of it, simply email me at plastergeorge@gmail.com for a night you'll never forget.
We are back, and our apologies for not being able to get Nick De La Torre on. Some confusion over times and that kind of thing, and we'll work to try to do that here in the near future. One of the things that that Kelly, that you kind of hit on without saying it. So LSU and Florida play this weekend down in Gainesville.
Yeah.
I'll be very interested to see what the stands look like, because that's one of the telltale signs of what a fan base is thinking.
Well, because we talk about this with everything is put into the 12-team playoff now. We're trying to make the 12 teams, and it's not only happening as a coach. How do you motivate your kids to come out and play? I can remember when I was with the Indianapolis Colts and Lenny Infante, who was a former Florida guy. Lord rest his soul. I can remember when we were 0-10, and we were going into a game against the Green Bay Packers, who the year before had won the Super Bowl. And when you got guys in that situation and you're 0-10 and you're not very good, how do you keep guys playing? How do you motivate guys? If you don't have something intrinsic in you to keep you motivated, how as a coach do you motivate? Well, that's what's going to happen now in college football or in college sports when you don't have anything to play for. And now it's going to, like George, that's a great point. Like, how are the fans? What the fans know that hey, we're not part of it anymore. Like, we can go at the game, we can have a good time, and we can drink. But like, that's the way our society is now. You used to go to a game and you had fun, you enjoyed it, you just went. But now, if you're not part of the 12-team playoff, how does Brian Kelly, how does Billy Napier, how do these guys get their teams to play? Because we're seeing now in bowls where all these kids are saying, hey, I'm going to the NFL. I'm not going to play in the bowl game. I think there needs to be something. That's why I asked Jack Waddy yesterday, because I really didn't know how this stuff in these collectives are going. Like, are you making them sign a contract, or do you have like what you're supposed to pay them? And if not, then the coach don't have to live up to it. And then if the coach doesn't live up to it, the kid's going to say, hey, I'm opting out, man. I'm not playing. You promised me this. I just don't know where it's going, George. But just like you said, the train has left the station, and I'm going to tell y'all this. I'm still worried about the game that I love, man. I'm worried about the product on the field. We've got so much involved in the money aspect of it, and now these kids are not being coached. These quarterbacks are running around. They're all getting hurt. They're not going to play if they got a hangnail. The sport is at its highest level ever of popularity, but I'm worried about it because I don't know where it's going after this.
Billy, have you heard a specific school that has tried to put into their NIL stuff that they negotiate that, look, we get in a bowl game, you're playing. That's part of the deal.
I haven't heard specifically, but I'm sure that has happened, and these donors, they've got some leverage of their own too. We talk about the players having all the leverage right now. Well, donors are the ones paying that, really. I mean, so I'm sure there are, George. I don't have specific instances of that, but back to the Florida LSU matchup. LSU, we talk about LSU, and I think a lot of people say, well, LSU's done, but when in technicality, they can still get into that tie with the SEC. I mean, you never know. So I think if you're Brian Kelly, you've got a little bit of toothpaste in that tube left.
Well,
no, Billy, they look really bad the other night. Like Alabama said, like George likes to say, who's your daddy?
We're your daddy.
Yeah, that's right.
We're wearing crimson. We're your daddy. So you've got, in theory, this is interesting because ABC has this slotted as their 2:30 game. And you've got two teams that on the surface possibly don't want to be there. and a fan base that probably even less wants to be there. I'll be real curious on Saturday what that looks like. But let me get to the Tennessee-Georgia game for a minute. If you're Kirby Smart, do you have to assume that Nico is not playing?
I don't think you can assume that, no, but you have to be ready. I'm sure he's searching, but like we've put so much into Nico, and I know the kid played last week, and I was probably on the road, but I don't even know who the backup is at UT. Like that's kind of where we're going in all this. Like nobody knows backups anymore, so I don't even. You have to be prepared for it, but like if Nico doesn't play, we've all said you formulate everything around a certain guy that is going to be in there, and if he doesn't play, I don't think they have a shot. And talking about a kid nowadays, George, Tennessee's defense is a legitimate force, and they're a legitimate SEC defense. There's no question. But if Nico doesn't play, how do they play?
Well, okay. First of all, Billy, having watched the backup, last week, you didn't really get much of a feel for what he can or can't do. So if Tennessee gets forced into that setting, it has to be Heupel going to the defense saying, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to lean on our running game. We're going to ask our quarterback to not snap the football, until you get under 5 seconds in the play clock. We are going to shorten the game. And guys, we're looking for you to win us a 17-13, 12-10, 13-9. We're asking you to do what Missouri is having to do right now without Brady Cook. Y'all buy that?
Yeah, and I think Tennessee can. I think Tennessee has shown that they can win like that. My only concern would be if Carson Beck is finally on, if he's not throwing interceptions, does Tennessee have a prayer? I'm so interested because this is going to be really telling about, we're going to get our answer on if Tennessee's a playoff team or not this weekend.
Well, are we though?
My whole thing is this: if Nico doesn't play, then if you're Kirby Smart, because the Sampson kid, we've already talked about it. He's one of the weapons on this Tennessee offense. And if he's the guy that they're going to give the ball to and they're going to try to give it to him 25, 30 times in the game, then I'm Kirby Smart. I'm bringing 9 guys up and I'm saying, hey, this backup's going to have to beat me. And if he does beat me, I'm going to shake your hand at the end of the game and I'm going to say, hey, he got us. But I'm not going to let the running game of UT beat me. It's not even going to come close, and that's what you're going to have to adjust to. And, hey, I was a backup as well, and people didn't think I could do it until I got in and did it. So maybe this kid comes in and he plays lights out and he throws the ball all over the place. Of course, we don't know if Nico's going to play or not. But if that's me and I'm the head coach, that's what I'm doing. I'm stacking the box. You're not going to beat me with that. If you beat me with your backup quarter, hey, thumbs up, man. I'm going to shake your hand and say good job.
What it feels like it does, it forces Georgia to implement during practice 2 different game plans. One with Nico, one without him. And you've already said what the one without him, will have everybody, including Uga, in the box. Nico, if he does play, wow. It'll be interesting. Well, I tell you what, let's go to the break. I know we'll have stat of the day coming up. Then we will have underdog picks, which I will tell you were a complete disaster a week ago. So we got to do better. And then Billy is going to rumble through a bunch of the text messages and text questions that we have gotten in the last week. And today, We'll take it and go text messages. This is 94.9 The Fan.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
Here's Officer Darren Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
All right, it's time for Stat of the Day, brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You got 3 locations, one in Old Hickory, one in Hendersonville, and one in Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to applecollisioncenters.com. All right, we're going NFL today. Here we go. At 7-3, it seems the Commanders are going top win 10-plus games. Are going to win 10-plus games. Time is
Get it out, Elmer. Elmer Fudd up in here today.
Shut up, Kelly. It seems the Commanders are going to win 10-plus games. Who was the quarterback the last time this happened? A Commanders quarterback to win 10-plus games.
Okay, let's, by process of elimination, we're going to eliminate Sonny Jurgensen and Billy Kilmer.
I don't even know who those are, George.
No, I know
Google
it.
Billy.
I know it. So you've been on a roll. You have single-handedly earned your keep in the last week. What's the first thought that came into your mind?
Billy, I've got a question. Is he still playing today?
No.
Oh gosh.
Okay, my first one is RG3.
That's what I was going to say. RG3. That's who I was going to say. It was either RG3 or Kirk Cousins, and when you went Kirk Cousins, I think it's RG3.
Ladies and gentlemen, show us RG3. Kelly.
Killing it, George.
Kelly, let's be honest.
4 straight.
We are in fuego.
We're killing it, dude. They're asking the right questions, George. It's unbelievable. They've gotten on the same wavelength as us.
What do you think that says?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but it was RG3 or Kirk Cousins, and when Billy told me he's not still playing, I said, "There you go," and you said it.
We've dumbed it down, guys.
No, you haven't.
Fine.
Those are not easy questions. Hey, before we get into the 4:00 hour, here's just a random thought that hit me. Okay, don't ask me why. The dumbest television advertising promotion that I have seen in a while, and they've brought it back out of mothballs, is this stupid Domino's emergency pizza. Okay, I don't know about y'all, but I have never said, "Oh, thank God for Domino's because they're giving me an emergency pizza." But I will say this to Tennessee fans out there listening to this show. If you find out, because I'm assuming Tennessee will make this a game time decision, if you find out about 6 p.m. that Nico isn't playing, I think that's when you call Domino's for the emergency pizza.
That's good stuff, George. You know what I was thinking, though, in your ad, when you're sitting on the top of the chair, it would have been hilarious if that would have broke.
You're
at
talking
the
about
strike and spare.
at the
At the
bowling
strike
alley.
and spare. Yes, at the strike and spare. That
Is
would have
that-
been just unbelievable.
Is that really what you're hoping for?
I wasn't hoping, but like when you're sitting on top of it, you know, and you think you're all big and bad, and if we had a little crack in that thing and it came falling down, I would not be upset.
We have completely lost control of the show. Yeah, I want to thank Domino's for that stupid promotion with the emergency pizza. Good God. Can you believe they have brought that thing back out of mothballs?
I like
So
it.
that
Hey,
Do you know
good
anybody?
advertising.
Do you know one person that has said to you, yeah, I got an emergency pizza?
I could see you getting one, George.
I think this is where the Tennessee fan base, if he doesn't play, they need to bombard Domino's. I need my emergency pizza. And oh, by the way, bring me a Jack and Coke while you're at it. Okay. Are we now? I guess we're now officially into the 4 o'clock hour, and we welcome all of you in. The last couple of minutes, by the way, you'll never get back. Those are just wasted moments in your life. It's now time for Underdog picks.
Wow.
We have a commissioner who is an absentee commissioner. He's not even in the state. What the hell?
I
no rule
agree.
against that.
He's on the run. Are you running from the law, Billy? Is that what we're doing?
No, there's no rule against that. I've still got all the numbers and stats ready to go today.
He's at
least
he's at least here, George, because Willie will just not show up sometimes. You know,
exactly.
when he was doing it, he won't show up.
No, years ago, there was one in particular where Willie couldn't find the stats, and I announced on the air that Mahoney, who at the time was about 3 years old, had eaten all the stats.
I think I remember that, George.
Yeah,
and I think I gave it to him pretty hard.
Yeah, oh yeah, he got ripped. Billy, you're close.
See,
yes, you're close to that.
I can already see Kelly ripping into young Willie.
I'm
Willie,
about to rip into you if you don't do a good job on this segment.
All right,
you better help me with my 6.5. You better help me with my 6.5 points. Put a little bit more up there, Billy.
I got you. All right, it's time to review the last weekend. Kelly, it was a good Hawaii pick. They were close. They're late with UNLV, but ended up losing 29-27.
Okay, hold on a second. Kelly, did you perhaps watch this game on Mizlu or CW or one?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I was keeping up with it, though. I promise you. I was in a hotel room in Murray, Kentucky, and I was keeping up with it. And I'm like, we got a shot. We got a shot. And then I went to sleep, and then I woke up. The first thing I did that morning was I got on my phone, and I looked up the Hawaii score and UNLV score, and I was like, gosh. It's
tight.
irritating.
It's a bitter loss.
Yeah.
Very bitter loss. Kelly's losing streak continues, but we'll see if he can get on the board this weekend. George?
Hold on a second. Kelly, the last time you won a game, was it summer?
It was in the Eisenhower administration.
Wow, that is good reference.
Sometimes you just have those seasons. All right. George had LSU to cover, well, not just cover, to beat Alabama at home, and they got throttled.
Okay, I want to express some thoughts here. So I got home in time to, get the pregame, whatever it is they call that stupid 15 minutes. So they kick off at 6:45. And at 6:44, I'm here to tell you, I absolutely thought I had the right side. I thought LSU would give Alabama everything they needed. So I happened to see a few plays of the replay a couple of days later. First down, dead ball, false start, the crowd making all this noise. First down run, nothing. Second down run, nothing. And I am sitting there going, man, I have got a winner. I am your daddy and all that kind of crap. And then all of a sudden on third down, Milroe rolls out, gets away from the pressure, and he's got a guy wide open. I mean, from here to New Orleans, 22 yards, first down. And from that moment on, LSU was never in it. And I am pissed off. Thank you.
So George isn't happy. We'll see if George.
Well, it's embarrassing. It was 42-6. This is a team that Vanderbilt beat, for God's sakes.
This ain't your daddy's Vanderbilt, George.
Well, may not be, but still. I mean, Kelly, how does that happen?
I don't know, George. I'm going to be honest with you. Everybody knows the struggles that people have going to LSU, especially at nighttime with those folks down there geared up and drinking all day. And Alabama's record down there was 6-6 for the last 7 going in. Now it's 7 for the last 8. So they've done really well at LSU, and LSU just was. They were never in the game, and I told y'all, Alabama looked like the old Alabama. They look like the Nick Saban type Alabama team, and if they are fortunate enough to get into the playoffs with 2 losses, they don't lose any more. If they play like they did against LSU down there, they've got a shot to win the whole thing again.
I mean, could you make the claim that in all the big games that have been played this year, that no team has been more dominating in a game that mattered, that really had national title implications than what Alabama did last Saturday? It was scary.
Yeah, I don't think so, man. I think the way that they played the other night, I don't think anybody wants to play them at this point. Now, can they keep that momentum going?
Right.
I don't know. In this day and age, I'm not sure. But if they do, they have. But it's like they've done that all of Nick Saban's career, George. When they were backed up against the wall, there's been not too many times that they didn't play well, and they played really good the other night with their back against the wall because they know they cannot lose another game. And if they play like they did with allowing Jalen Milroe to do what he did, let him be an athlete. Don't make him a pocket passer like they did in the Vanderbilt and the Tennessee game. Let him be free. Let him run because he's a running back playing quarterback. And if you can call some things for him and you can keep him out of trouble and keep him ahead of the chains, they can win this thing if they get in it.
Let him be free.
All right, so I had Virginia Tech over Clemson, and for a while I thought Virginia Tech had a great shot, but they just can't get any bounces. They can't catch a break this year. And credit Clemson, Klubnik made an incredible play, and at that point I was like, this hope is lost here. But George, how did neither of us pick Georgia Tech over Miami? I know Haynes King, we didn't think he was going to play, but gosh, I was so close to picking that one.
Well, he makes all the difference in their attack. When Haynes King is healthy, Georgia Tech's pretty good. And I'll tell you this, and admittedly I'm biased because he's a friend, but the game that Buster Faulkner called, because there really isn't a lot of comparison between the athletes Georgia Tech has and what Miami has. And Buster Faulkner took all of Miami's aggressiveness, over-aggressiveness, and shoved it down their throat with a series of misdirections. I'm telling you, somebody ought to look at Buster as a head coach.
Well, Buster was at Middle, George, and we
Sure.
went down when I was doing the radio. We went down to Georgia Tech, and we beat Georgia Tech up that game. And if it wasn't for the referees, we would have scored 70 on them. He had a really good game plan, and they played really well. So I'm like you. I mean, he's probably going to. That's the next step up, being a coordinator, and you do a really good job. You've got an opportunity to be a head coach somewhere, and I can see him being that.
Okay,
right.
Billy. So very little comment about your game.
Yeah, but that's how I like it. I like being able to prove you guys wrong. That's what I did with getting up to 23.5 points. So that helps me keep the chip on my shoulder.
Have you still got some of Pogie's points in there, Billy?
About 6 of them. I think Pogie had 6.5, and then I got him up.
Okay, so if you don't take those points away, we're going to appeal this thing at the end of the year, and we're going to bring you back to life. Bring you back down to earth a little bit there, Hoss.
Well, I've got a good attorney, so good luck with that.
Okay.
And I really like my picture. It looks like I'm addressing Congress. And
AI
if
generated.
if I ever get that chance, I'll ask for money.
What's up with Billy's picture? We've talked about that before. What is up with that?
That's a great
picture. You look
picture.
like a dweeb. You look like a dweeb, Billy.
You look like a hobo, Kelly.
Oh, I do. I was playing football, Hoss.
Let's move on.
Moving on to this week's order, I will lead it off, and I love that. I'm in a great position this weekend to take the lead over George. Kelly's in second, and George's in a tough spot this weekend because I think this is a good slate. George is picking third. All right.
Yep. So am I right that because you're an absentee commissioner that we do not have music this week?
Well, no music on the podcast form, but David back at the station told me he'll be able to play music. So when I announced, take a little break.
Yeah, that'll be really exciting.
That'll be riveting. Anyway, up first, myself. So
what in the world? Up now, yours truly.
Podcast
What do you want me
excellence at its finest.
Hey, this is your fault for letting Poggie drop out and have me.
Myself.
All right, so I've got a few games I'm thinking about.
Yeah, whatever.
Arkansas plus 13.5 at home against Texas. I think that's sneaky. Texas is overrated this year. I don't think Texas is as good as people think they are, so I'm thinking about that one. Navy plus 7 at home against Tulane. That could be a good one. I know Kelly likes that one, but I'll let you have that one, Kelly. I'm going to go with Tennessee. I think Tennessee beats Georgia. Plus 10. I'm getting 10.
Billy.
That's a lot of points. So I'm going to ride with the Vols.
What is their backup's name, Billy? If you know that, you can have it.
Gaston Moore.
Gaston Moore. There you go.
Yep.
I knew that because I heard y'all say that.
I think Tennessee keeps it low scoring. I think their defense forces a couple of turnovers on Carson Beck, and Gaston Moore in that running game do just enough. I think Tennessee goes down there and wins.
Who cares what you think?
Well, who cares what Kelly thinks either, because he hasn't won in about a century. So here is Kelly Holcomb.
Since the Eisenhower administration, Billy, get it right. Okay, so Billy picked my first two, but
well, now hold on. You're supposed to have a little bit of pause so that we can hear in the background that stupid thing about we can skin a buck
and run a trot line.
Okay, all right.
Country boy can survive.
That's right.
You know what would get you in first place? If you take Northwestern against Ohio State.
No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, George.
Well, if you do and it works, you'll be in first place.
I'm not picking Chris Sanders trash. It's not going to work ever. Okay, so Billy was pretty heads on. He was right on with the picks right there. I had those first two, and then I had another one. But you know what? I'm glad that he didn't take that first one because I'm going to take Arkansas just because of the points.
And George wanted
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh,
Just
crap.
because, George, you don't need those points. You just need to hit a double every now and then. You're winning the contest. Why do you need a big pick like that?
I was looking forward Saturday morning at 11 o'clock to getting up and calling the Hogs.
Hey, just think about if Arkansas does beat Texas. Can you imagine the chaos now? That's awesome.
Well, first of all, I don't rule out that they could.
Oh, absolutely not. And then you expect Arkansas to kind of Sam Pittman over his years as the head coach. They start off strong and then they've kind of fade. And I don't know if they're fading a little bit. They had a huge win against Tennessee, but they got beat. Was it last week? I think did they get trounced last week or?
Yeah, Arkansas got trounced by Ole Miss.
Yeah, by Ole Miss. So I'm just thinking, hey, if this does happen, every team in the SEC's got at least 2 losses. That's going to make the committee in the SEC figure out all these tiebreakers, which I'm looking forward to. So give me the Razorbacks.
Ugh.
The concern is that Arkansas defense.
It's like 13.5 points, Billy. I gotta hit a home
You
run,
need it.
Hoss.
You need it.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Penn State has already started making their like some seats and sections of it in their ticket plans available for playoff games. I saw something on Twitter that, take Purdue money line then. Because Penn State's they're the first team out of anybody to start making home game playoff preparations. I don't know if it's specifically home games, so some people were saying take Purdue.
Well, let me toss this one out here on that thought. Who knows, but Happy Valley in late December. Could you not have a big old massive snowstorm?
Yep.
Cold. You've got one of the teams from the South coming in. They've never seen snow. I mean, I'm just saying it could happen.
That's the thing. We're going to get what everybody wants because a lot of times the Big Ten people are, well, the Alabama, have them come up here and play at Michigan or have Ole Miss come up here and play at Penn State. Well, I think we're probably, at least with what it looks like right now, I mean, we're going to get that. With it probably doesn't hold firm here, but Ole Miss would be going up to Happy Valley. Alabama would be going to Bloomington. Who would have ever thought that? But again, that's probably not going to happen.
Weather could be a factor.
All right, let's review.
He's still got a pick there, Billy. That's a $100 fine.
Oh my
God, we're going to Morton's or we're going to wherever y'all. Jimmy Kelly's, is that where y'all talk about going? We're going there.
That's total incompetence.
Go ahead.
What the hell? Is it the assumption that I'm so good at this year that I don't need the pick?
No. Just make your pick.
Where's the music? Don't I have to stall, have some sort of pregnant pause while they play the tomahawk chop? Okay, Kelly, I'm down to 2 possibilities. The United States Naval Academy or Syracuse.
Oh, I saw that one.
Syracuse, a big dog at Cal.
Yeah.
And who would you take of those 2?
I've got the Navy game penciled in for me. But Cal is not a powerhouse of any sort. So Syracuse had a big win earlier in the year. I think it's kind of even there.
I'm going Syracuse.
Okay, George going with Syracuse. And that number is at, as I try to find this.
It's down. It's under college games, Billy.
Yes, thank you, George. Syracuse getting 9.5. Wow.
Billy, did you stay up late last night, man? Is that why you're so slow today, Hoss?
No, Kelly, just relax, man.
I mean, what are we doing, dude? This whole segment here has been a cluster of mistakes from you.
Billy, I don't know how to tell you this. I don't know how to tell you this. You've taken on some water.
You're going to start getting fined if you don't pick it up, Hoss.
This would be a good time for you to either review or call Domino's for an emergency pizza.
All right, let's do some review here. Up first, I got Tennessee +10 at Georgia. The Vols are taking down the Bulldogs. You can book it. Secondly, Kelly,
come up with your own material.
Yeah, whatever. Kelly is riding with the Hogs. He's calling the Hogs on Saturday +13.5 against Texas at home. And then George is riding with Syracuse +9.5 against Cal. So that's what we've got, gentlemen. Let's get a win. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, stuff it. You know, get on a plane and get home.
I'll go to Broadway.
Okay, after the break, we will review some of the text messages that you have put out there to us this week, and we will comment on those. Ooh, that'll be riveting. This is 94.9, The Fan.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Are you concerned about the Medicare Part D changes for 2025? Believe me, you're not alone. You need to contact Pancoast Benefits. They'll make the changes clear and easy to understand. Trust Pancoast to guide you through it all. Their knowledgeable team is here to help you understand the updates and make informed decisions about your Medicare coverage. Don't navigate these changes alone. Call Pancoast Benefits today at 615-292-3400 and choose option 3, or visit pancoastbenefits.com. That's 615-292-3400 and choose option 3. We are back, and we welcome all of you in on what has been a fun Thursday afternoon for us here on the show. This is normally where we will do a bunch of phone calls. However, today we're going to go text messages exclusively, see how that works. Most days we'll do a mix, so get ready. Here we go. Billy, what do you got?
Well, going back to Diego Pavia, this was from yesterday. Alex on Facebook chimes in and says, heck, while we're at it, let's just get rid of the 4-year limit for these college players. Have some 33-year-old veteran quarterback taking a single ballroom dance class, chucking it to an 18-year-old freshman. That from Alex on Facebook. Take away the 4-year limit.
So the age limit thing is really interesting because one of the schools that I think from time to time gets an advantage is BYU. Yeah. Kids go on Mormon missions. They come back, as 21, 22, 23-year-olds, and they've still got 3 years of eligibility. Kelly, you know better than I do. How big an advantage is that?
It's huge when you got a guy that's experienced like that playing against a 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, and he's 26, 27 years old. That's huge. Whether he's played or not, I mean, just mentality-wise, they're more mature. They understand things a little bit more. So that's a huge difference. What I'm going to ask y'all is, it makes me think. We talked about the kid. Is he at Miami? Is that the kid that's been there 9 years or been in college for 9 years? How does that happen? I don't understand. Are you just like, how many years can you get a medical red shirt? I know you can get gray shirted for a year because I know Rick Stockstill's son Brent got gray shirted, then he got red shirted. He spent 6 years in college. I understand all that, but like, how are you getting 8 and 9 years of these guys staying in school? How does that even work?
I don't know the specifics of I was going to say the young man, but hell, if this is his 9th year, he's not all that young.
No,
he's ready for Medicare. I don't know, Billy. I don't know enough about his other than to be a smart aleck and say that when he attempted to get the 9th year, I would have just said, I'm sorry, enough's enough.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the injuries. Like with these kids, it's like they get hurt, they get another injury red shirt. I think, and then you throw another COVID year in there as well.
So it's an unlimited medical red shirt then. Is that
that's
what
what
we're
it
saying?
that's what it feels like for a lot of these guys.
So that's how Cam Rising is going to keep doing it then, because he got hurt again, so he can come back for another year. And like right now, I'm not sure that with all the injuries that he's had, that you're going to go sit on those tables at the combine and they're going to poke and prod you. And I've told y'all that story where I had a shoulder injury. I had surgery in college and they were pressing on my shoulder and feeling on my rotator cuff, and that was hurting like trash. And they go, "Is that fine?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. But it was hurting." So like a guy like Cam Rising with all the injuries that he's had, I'm not sure he's got an NFL future. Just like we're talking about Diego Pavia, I don't know that. So I guess if you can stay in as long as you can, and then I didn't realize that if you got hurt, like every year you could keep getting medical red shirts, and they would keep honoring that with the NCAA. I just wasn't. I'm not privy to that. I don't know that stuff.
Okay, so I'm looking this up. And I'm going to read you, and I'm not sure this is going to help. The red shirt rule in college football allows a player to delay their participation in a season to maintain eligibility for a future year. The rule is intended to give players time to improve their skills and prepare for college. Now, that all sounds great. I'm sorry to be doing this this way, but I'm trying to get a little better info. Anyway, I guess I need to move on because I don't have anything here that really tells me how an eighth or a ninth year could happen.
That's the only thing that it can be, though. Unlimited medical red shirts. If a guy
Yeah.
gets hurt each year, that's the only thing it can be. They've got it's
Yeah.
unlimited medical red shirt years.
Right. Okay, this is one I was thinking of. So this is from me, and I think it's interesting. I was thinking about the NFL coaching cycle after the season. Who's going to be out there? Who is most likely to be an NFL head coach next season? Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, or Deion Sanders?
I think it's Vrabel. I think that Vrabel, whether people here were happy with the way it ended, his reputation around the league is pretty good. And there was a time with the Titans, when they made the playoff run and went to Baltimore and pulled that big upset of a Ravens team that everybody thought was super duper, his stock was really high. Belichick probably gets the downgraded some unfairly because of age. Although I do think somebody's going to hire him. Deion's got a weird decision to make because it feels like, Kelly, he would have to make that decision months before he could figure out where Shedeur is getting drafted.
Yeah, and I think that's a big deal with where his son is going. I think, if you're asking me, I think all three of them are possibilities. Like, what you're getting with Bill Belichick. Do you want to deal with that as an owner, and do you want to deal with that as a player? Because the players are different now. The Patriot way obviously had to do with number 12. And if you get a guy like number 12 in there that's under Belichick that can kind of organize and get all those guys to buy into the Bill Belichick way, then he's got a shot. But Vrabel is a good choice, but I think all three of them. But I think you're asking me, George, about Deion. I think that's a package deal. I really do. I think he's going to, like, he's already talking about getting into it. We talked about it earlier in the show he's going to be very selective in where his son goes. He doesn't want him going to certain places. And if they try to draft him, because we all know if you're the first pick in the draft, you're going to a bad football team that needs pieces, and they may not have those pieces. So I just think Deion, a lot of that is an asterisk by Deion's name of being a head football coach in the NFL, because if he can't bring his son with him, I don't think he'll do it. I mean, is that what y'all think?
It does feel that way. It also feels like some of this might be aimed. There's a series of franchises that he may have in mind, and I kind of think the Titans are one of them.
Do you?
Well, yeah, I do.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, we we talked about this earlier. Can Tennessee beat Georgia without Nico?
Well, I sort of put out what I think is the blueprint, assuming what we think we do know. Kirby Smart has spent a week absolutely berating that team for a performance that just doesn't fit the Kirby Smart era. And so Georgia is going to come out snorting. And Tennessee's got to know that. And Tennessee's got to be sitting there saying, if we can survive the early onslaught and we can take this game, get it into the fourth quarter, shorten it, and let our defense be the decider, is that far-fetched? We won't know until they play, but I do know this. Georgia gets up 14-0. It feels like Tennessee's toast.
I don't think Tennessee can beat Georgia, but we didn't think Ole Miss could beat Georgia either. Now, it was at home. But I think George hit on it months ago when he said they circle about 3 or 4 games of the year, and they're loaded for bear, and they play lights out. and I don't think they like Tennessee very much. And I think they're going to play loaded for bear Saturday. They can't lose another game. I got a question for y'all though. If they dominate Tennessee like they kind of dominated Texas at Texas, does that mean the end of Tennessee's 12-team playoff bid?
I don't think so, because I would assume the committee would have to take into account a major injury where they sit there and let's say they get smoked 42-17. You know, I would assume that they wouldn't be in the 12 the next week, but I would think they would be right there, like first team out, second team out, so that just the natural attrition would allow Tennessee the chance to get in. Let me read y'all something that I just found. In August, the NCAA announced a blanket rule that will exempt postseason games from counting toward a player's 4 allotted games in a given season. The new rule went into effect immediately for the 2024 college football season. However, the rule still limits players to play up to 4 games in a season to maintain their redshirt eligibility.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go.
That postseason deal is a big part of that.
That is big. It doesn't. So that doesn't count. Is that what we're saying? It doesn't count for the 4 games. So that could be a 5th game. Is that what we're saying?
No, I don't think that's what we're saying. However, the rule still limits players to play up to 4 games in a season to maintain their redshirt eligibility, which would, I guess, beg the question, okay, if Cam Rising suddenly got healthy and they wanted to play him in a bowl game, I guess that would not count. That he would still have the redshirt year.
Correct. That's we're saying the same thing. Yes, I got you.
It's nuts.
That's wild. Okay, we're gonna go. I'm gonna go to college now. Back to the playoff. You mentioned, Nico, if Tennessee loses to Georgia, do they treat that as the Jordan Travis situation? Like if Nico is out and Tennessee doesn't have him, but say they beat, well, maybe even say they lose a tight one to Georgia. Is Tennessee still in the conversation, even though Nico wouldn't be healthy technically?
Yeah, but I mean, when you say wouldn't be healthy technically, I mean, I think, we would all assume that by the time you get to a college football playoff that Nico would be healthy.
Right.
Yeah,
so
Nico would
that's
be
probably
fine. It's kind of different than Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis had a season-ending injury that he couldn't play, so Nico should be fine. But what if Nico does play this weekend, George, and they get trounced, like you said, 42-17 with Nico playing? How does that stack up?
I don't think they would be in the 12 next week, but I think they would be close enough where the natural attrition of teams would allow them the ability to win out and still get in. I don't think I think their body of work is probably good enough with a win over Alabama as part of it that they would still, they might not be in next week, but they would be in the hunt.
Okay.
All right, let's go to the Titans. Is Will Levis going to be on the Titans roster next season?
I'll start this. I think the best shot or the best thing he's got going for him is that right now he comes cheap. So that may be part of what dictates the decision making. Now, at the moment, we don't know if these last, whatever it is, 8 games proves him to be more effective. because I could see a real circus kind of play out, Kelly, if they keep him because he's cheap, but they've brought somebody else in to compete with him. Does that not feel like distractions all over the place?
It does, and I say yes. I say he's on the roster next year. I just don't know how this is going to go, and I don't think they know how it's going to go. He's got to play. He played better last week, guys. He really did. He played better. Now, does that move the needle any? I don't know, because they're not going to make the playoffs. They've only won 2 games. He played better last week. He didn't turn the ball over. It takes time, and I'm telling you guys, it takes time, and it takes time for a new head coach to implement his schemes. You can't just do it in a year. That's what's tough about this league, and that's what's tough about all this free agency and all that. You've got to bring guys, and you've got to have guys at the top that are at an organization for a long time, and you would like it to be a quarterback, like a Tom Brady or a Drew Brees or a Peyton Manning, and they don't have that with Will Levis right now. So I think he's on the roster next year, but I don't know if anybody knows how this is going to turn out. I don't even think the coaching staff does, and he's got a built-in excuse like we've talked about before, saying, hey, I didn't draft him. We need to clean some things up offensively. We need to get some guys at right tackle. I don't know, but I don't think the book is still not yet closed on Will Levis. I know that everybody is in the city is talking about it. We've talked about it, but it's a hard position, guys. It's a hard game, and I just think he's going to be on the roster next year, and I think he made a step in the right direction the other day.
Okay, I'll counter with this before we go to the break. The closest example of what the Titans are dealing with right now appears to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny Pickett was the quarterback of the future. He was the local kid who could do no wrong. He bombed out, and rather than keep him on the roster, they shipped him out. And he's now, I believe, a Philadelphia Eagle. I think he's the backup in Philly, who you never hear anything about because Jalen Hurts thus far has stayed healthy. Pittsburgh went 2 different routes in this thing. They went Justin Fields, and then they went Russell Wilson on a contract that was minimum because Denver's having to pay all the money. So while Pittsburgh is reaping the benefits of a Russell Wilson who nobody wanted, Denver's paying for it. I mean, it's the ultimate fun deal for the Steelers to go, we're paying him $1 million a year. Denver's paying it all. He's kicking everybody's butt, and we're the only team that had the smarts to go get him.
George, there's a reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers have had 3 coaches in 50-something years. They've had Chuck Noll, they had Bill Cowher, now they got Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin and those guys understand the game. Their organization understands the game. They do a really good job of bringing people in that can play, that fits their system. They don't go about what the Mel Kipers and the Todd McShays of the world tell them. They go about how they evaluate players, and they knew that they made a mistake with Kenny Pickett. They're not going to sit around and try to fit something square into a round hole, a square peg into a round hole. It's not going to happen. They understand that. They shipped him out. That's why they're the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's why they've won the most Super Bowls of anybody in the National Football League.
Okay, we'll go to the break on that. A few more text questions when we come back on 94.9 The Fan.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
the Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler. Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
Here comes a mind-numbing exercise. During the break, I looked up what quarterbacks are eligible for free agency at the end of the season. 31 names: Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Jacoby Brissett, Taylor Heineke, Marcus Mariota, Drew Lock, Jared Stidham, Andy Dalton, Justin Fields, Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston, Mac Jones, Carson Wentz, Jimmy Garoppolo, Case Keenum, Mason Rudolph, Easton Stick, Cooper Rush, Josh Dobbs, Brandon Allen, Nick Mullins, Kyle Trask, Josh Johnson, who's played for about 28 teams, Kyle Allen, Russell Wilson, Jeff Driscoll, Brett Rippon, Shane Buechele, Sam Ehlinger, and Tommy DeVito. Okay, I would assume, Kelly, that Sam Darnold would be at the top of the list and probably available if J.J. McCarthy is healthy enough and the Vikings think he is their quarterback of the future. If Darnold is the most attractive of that list, who would be number 2 to you?
Well, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson would be the most attractive to me because he's down there at the bottom, and he's on the last leg of his deal here. But I think you could get him, like the Steelers are getting him, and you just talked about it. He's getting paid by the Denver Broncos, so I don't think you would have to pay him a bunch of money. He's already made a lot of money in the NFL. He's been to the Super Bowl a couple of times. He's won one. He would be the most attractive guy to me because you want some guys with experience. That's a lot of names on that list.
Why would Pittsburgh let him go?
I don't
Based
think
on
they
what
would.
we've seen so far, I don't either.
I don't think they'll ever let him go. But he's got some. If he keeps playing like he's playing right now and playing at the level that he's playing at, I don't think Pittsburgh will let him go because they know they can squeeze out 2 or 3 more years with him. So I don't see that happening. I'm not going after Jameis Winston. I mean, he's kind of been a turnover magnet his whole career. Carson Wentz can't stay healthy. I think Sam Darnold's the guy, but then again, you've got to look at what Terry talked about earlier. Sam had a lot of people. He's got a lot of people around him in that Vikings organization that can play football. He's got some weapons on offense. If he comes here, are we going to have the same weapons? I don't know. I think Calvin Ridley's kind of hitting his stride right now, but Tyler Boyd hadn't really done much. I think he's got running backs. I think they still got to go out and I like their tight ends. I think they're usable, but I just have you got a big name tight end like he's got in Minnesota with the Hawkinson kid. I don't know. You just worry about Sam Darnold, man. If it was me as a general manager, George, I don't know what you think about this, but it's me. I saw what he did with the Jets, with the Panthers. He's been kind of all over the place. He's finally having a good year, but I just wonder if he goes back to being the Jets, the Panthers guy, other than being the Vikings guy. That's the big question mark for me.
Sure, it's a crapshoot. I mean, Baker Mayfield 2 years ago was left for roadkill and has revived his career. And I'm sure that a lot of this, Kelly, and you know this a lot better than I do, has to do with what kind of an offensive coordinator you have. That figures out, okay, this is what this guy does well. Seems like that's happened in Tampa.
You know what? I had one of my friends who's a sports psychologist who works with teams, who worked with NFL teams and college teams. He talked about chemistry. And obviously, Sam Darnold has found some chemistry with the head coach who calls plays. You look at chemistry with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. You look at the chemistry that Tom Brady had with Bill Belichick. If you look like Drew Brees with Sean Payton, all these guys that win have chemistry with their coaches.
Kingsbury with
the
Jaden
guys
Daniels.
that Yeah, exactly. I mean, Dan Quinn and you look at Jared Goff and what he's doing with the Ben Johnson guy. Like they have chemistry. The guys that don't have chemistry with their team or with their coach. So I don't know if you bring Sam Darnold here, would he have chemistry with the people around him? I mean, if you look at that, and when my friend told me that, I'm like, golly, because I had chemistry with Bruce Arians. The only times I was successful was when I was with Bruce. So I had chemistry with that. I knew what he was going to call. I knew what he wanted. I had chemistry with Bruce, and I wish I could have stayed with him my whole career, but I couldn't. So, I mean, that has a lot to do with it, George.
Yeah, and right now, and it's early in the process, it's hard to say that you can see the chemistry between Brian Callahan, who is their offensive coordinator and head coach, and Will Levis. Billy, give us one more, and then we'll go to the final break.
Will Brian Callahan be the head coach of the Titans when the new stadium opens?
Ooh.
That's a big question right there.
That is a hard one to answer. You know, right now, some of it's tied to Levis. If Levis bombs, then if the scenario of him being the coach in the new stadium happens, if Levis is determined to be a bomb, then they better identify a quarterback if that scenario is going to play out.
I say I say yes, but I say he's got to let Will Levis play the last year of the remaining games. He can't be hurt. If he goes into next year with the question mark with Will Levis, then it's a no. But if he goes in and he plays and they're able to evaluate him, and then if they want to move on or keep him, I say yes.
We'll go to the break on that, and then Plaster Bet of the Day, which, by the way, has a really good Thursday night football game. All of that coming up on 94.9 The Fan.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in a car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
The Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night is set for Monday, December the 2nd, here at the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center at 3436 Lebanon Pike. The proceeds go to 2 really worthy causes, Last Minute Toy Store and the Martha O'Brien Center. It costs $200, and it's a night of fun you'll never forget. If you'd like to be a part of it, simply email me at plastergeorge@gmail.com for a night you'll never forget.
Final segment on a Thursday. It's time for Plaster's Bet of the Day. Good NFL game tonight. Got an okay college game. And obviously NBA, NHL action all around the country. We'll see where Georgia's going with Bet of the Day. Brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. First, let's check out what happened last night. And it was a loss. Northern Illinois failed to cover 14.
They still won, but yeah, that's a tough one, George.
There were empty seats.
Or sections or the whole stadium.
So there will be no empty seats tonight in Philly at Lincoln Financial. That place will be rocking. And only because the game is in Philly am I going EAGLES. This is going to be a really good test of just what level is Jaden Daniels at, because early on he has been lights out. But has he faced anything quite like this Philly crowd? It's a good question. Kelly, you know it better than I do. They can rattle even the best.
Yes, they can. That's a tough place to play. And when you cheer somebody who gets hurt, as a Michael Irvin did a long time ago, man, those fans are really they're into it, man. I didn't really dig that, but yeah, it's a tough place to play. I was there, and those fans are passionate about the game. But like you said, Jaden Daniels is a really good football player. It seems like the Eagles, I don't know. It's just I felt like years ago they were in the mix all the time, and I don't know. There's just something kind of missing there. But I think Jaden Daniels, they've got a winner there, and I think Washington has got a lot of winning. Whether they win this game tonight or not, they've got a lot of winning ahead of them if they can keep him healthy.
We're done for today. We'll see you tomorrow for another edition of Football Friday. Cole Kubelik from ESPN will join us as well on 94.9 The Fan.